Welcome to Just Get Up with Isaac for daily motivation. I'm super pumped to have you back here on this Friday as we conclude this important series of how to discover and use your true gift of value. Now, we've been talking about this series for the past 3 episodes, and today we're going to conclude with some impactful information that will literally change your life for the better if used properly. So prepare your heart and prepare your mind to reignite with your true gift of value. And this gift will change your life forever if used properly. Because remember, our imagination starts with everything. And just like being in a relationship, unless we with the person that we truly love, we'll never feel fulfilled. You don't have to settle in life. You don't have to just be content. You can truly be anything that you want to be. And most importantly, you can be what you want to be and not what you need to be. So who do you want to be? Start asking yourself that question. And I'd like to ask you this. I'll start this week's episode off like this. Whatever you envision for yourself as a child, because kids, what's beautiful about being a kid, their brains run wild. They're not concerned really about how people think about them or what people think of them. They just kind of allow their imaginations to run wild. It's only when a kid's thought process is interrupted by conditioning that we shape our opinions. But what did you want to be as a child? Are you that person right now? I love something that's brought out in Matthew chapter 18 and verses 1 through 3. Now, Jesus' disciples were arguing about who is the greatest. You know what he told them? He said, unless you be like these children, you never enter into the kingdom. So remember, a baby doesn't even know what's his gender unless someone tells it. Who told you were male or female? Someone had to tell you. So this exposes that from the point of our conception and when we're brought into this planet, we're conditioned. Now, this doesn't mean that the condition is wrong, and it doesn't mean that it's right. We just have to recognize those things. See, this is what gets in the way of a kid just being who they were designed to be. For example, if you truly go back and think about the things you wanted to do as a kid, no one really had to coerce you into thinking that way. It just happened. I'll use my story as an example. And when you listen to my story, I'm going to tell you how I discovered my true gift of value. This story is going to reveal some things to you. I don't really have to talk about it because you just listen. So if you recall, I grew up in poverty, and my father wasn't around, and my mom was a diagnosed schizophrenic. And we grew up under a Section 8 program. I hated it, and I wanted to change it. However, I always had a heart for love. I was a hopeless romantic. So anyways, there was this girl named Tiara Foster. When I was in the fifth grade, I was 10 years old. And this was the first time that I started to really notice girls. And I was on the shy side, but I didn't really know how to express myself. So I would hide my feelings. So I was like, what do I need to do to get this 10-year-old girl to be interested in my 10-year-old self? So I had a cousin named Michael, and I was just talking to him and asking him for advice. And you'll find this in one of my chapters in my book, Just Get Up and Manifest Your Inner Genius. So he was like, you know what, June, which is my nickname, my family nickname. He said he was 17 years old and I was 10, so I believed in the things that he was saying. He said, if you can write poetry and write it well, you can get any girl that you want to. Now, I always had an appreciation for art and English and language and stuff along that sort, but I didn't realize that I could turn it into some artistic thing. So what I did, I decided to write a poem, and I entitled it Wind Beneath My Wings. That was my first poem. And after writing it, I was like, you know what, this sounds kind of good. And I let my cousin read it and he said, June, you have a gift. This is pretty good. And from that moment, it was as though my heart was synapsed, or that it synapsed with this particular gift. However, after doing this, every day that I went to my English class, I would take all of my journal topics and turn them into poems. Now, I could do this in 5 to 7 minutes, and it was always something special. So eventually, I was just forced and moved to I wanted to read my poems to the class, and I did it every day. So the guys were tired of me, but it was something that I just loved to do. And then eventually, as I progressed to high school, then the teachers started to find out that I wrote poetry. And then they started saying things like, hey, would you like to perform at one of the Black History programs and do a poem for us? Which I did. Then that's when I learned I had a photographic memory. It's a discovery process. But going back to how the gift was sparked, the inspiration came from something positive. So I wanted to get out of poverty, and I wanted to express the artistic side of myself. No one interrupted my thought process. At this point, I didn't have anyone telling me what I could and couldn't do. So based on that, at this point, I can be whatever I want to be. Now, this is what happened. This is how my gift process was interrupted. So keep in mind, I read a poem every day in my English class from the 6th grade all the way up into the 12th grade. Now I discovered my gift at 10, but I didn't start reading it officially to the class until I made it to the 6th grade. Now, I decided that I wanted to develop my gifts in writing. So one day, I asked my grandmother to sponsor me to go to Washington, D.C. And I guess because of her limited belief in possibilities, she said, no, I have no desire for you to go all the way to Washington, D.C. and lose. Now, I didn't take this personally. She can only give me back what she believed about life's possibilities. So when I tried to pursue writing, people was like, don't pursue writing. You're going to make writing? You're going to make money off writing books and poetry? And this was trusted friends and adults telling me this, so I abandoned it. But I knew I didn't want to work for anyone else. So that's when I started investigating what else I could do. So when it came to going to college, I didn't go right away because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew what I wanted to do, but people told me not to do that. So what happened, I decided to get involved in personal training. And remember, this was sparked from a lady, an older lady. I don't even remember her name. I was just working at Breck as a fitness attendant when I was 17. And this lady walked up to me. She just said, I think you would be a great personal trainer. And I was like, what? Now, I had seen this guy walk in by the name of Lee Khan, who was a good friend of mine. He's dead now. He was like 45 at the time, and I was like 17. And I was just fascinated by this guy taking people through a workout regimen. And I was like, that seems interesting. So I was saying, I like working out. Because if you recall from my first episode, I started working out when I was 11 because I wanted to be like Bruce Lee. I thought I was going to the NBA. So it was just a discovery process of trying to discover myself. However, what I learned about the writing thing, it came the easiest to me. I could fill the page up. So as a young boy, I knew that I should pursue something that came the easiest to me. But what happened, people were telling me that, look, you're not going to make any money. So this is how the NBA came in, because yes, I can make a lot of money doing that. So people are conditioning me. So when we're kids, people are conditioning us to think of pursuing our destinies and our careers and the things that we like to do. They're attaching it to money, and that's what disrupts our process. So what you have to do, you have to uncondition that. Just go back to what you want, not what you think that you need or what you think that other people think for you. Just simply think about what you want, and that is going to kind of synapse this whole process. Now, you must recognize this as well. There's something called paradigms, and it goes back to cybernetics as well. Now, just because you are aware that you need change doesn't mean that you change. You see, a paradigm is a set pattern, and it kind of goes back to your subconscious mind. And remember, your subconscious mind stores everything that you have ever encountered in your life, rather it's good or bad. And whichever part that's been nurtured unconsciously will program you to stay in that particular mindset. For example, if I set my temperature in my house, my thermostat, to 72, and I make that my permanent temperature and I keep it on, it will remain a 72 no matter what I'm doing. It's going to force it to remain that way. Now, if I get too hot, if I get too cold, that temperature is going to be consistent unless I change it. Now, I can put it on auto and it may readjust, but as soon as the temperature comes back on, it's going to put me back to the temperature that has been programmed to. Now, although I'm aware that, hey, man, it's too hot in here or it's too cold, the thermostat is programmed. That's how your mind is. See, when you want to change a paradigm, you must first reimagine, reinvent, rethink, and then it leads to change. See, this is why someone can recognize, hey, I need to change this bad habit, but they never change their perspective and they never consciously made a decision to be another person. So if you don't make a conscious decision to be another person, in addition to working to be someone new and changing your belief system, you will eventually go back to the person that you work so hard not to be. So you must understand that, because that's very, very powerful to really understand what this means. So you must change your paradigm. You must tell yourself, look, I'm going to unprogram this. I'm going to reprogram this. You must reprogram your mind. You cannot just leave this up to chance. So just like that thermostat, you have to turn the button off or adjust it to the temperature that you want, and then don't put it on auto, make it permanent. Or you can simply turn it off so that way you can have complete control of your paradigm shifts. That's important to understand. So if a kid's thought process is never interrupted, they're going to grow into thinking how they truly want to be as an adult. Now, that's what you have to go back to. So what did you want to be as a kid? Take out all the conditioning. Now all you have to do is put a method to nurturing this. See, that's another thing. No one teaches us as kids to nurture our gifts. They tell us to go to school, go do this, go do that, but never developing the gifts that we came here with. So you must develop that. So ask yourself those things again. Now, if you notice from my story, I already knew what I was good at, but I was derailed from that. So this is what happened. I never let go of the gifts that I knew I had. Now, I will say this, I unconsciously used these gifts in other fields. So that's why I was able to excel. Now, it doesn't always happen like that. Some people are unfortunate to still be able to use their gifts. But just remember this, unless you succinctly or precisely use your gifts, you'll never unearth its true value. See, it's just like a car that needs an alignment. When a car needs an alignment, you have to hold on to the steering wheel very tight. Now, if you let go, it's going to go to the left or right. But when the alignment is proper, you can let the steering wheel go and it will stay straight. So unless you succinctly use your gifts, you'll never have a smooth ride in life and you'll never maximize your unique potential. So this is important to understand. So just go back there and say, this is my gift. Now I just need to nurture it. Now you need to write down ideas of how to use it. And this is what you should do. You write your ideas down and you carry them with you and you read it in the morning and at night. And then you just start studying this particular gifting that you know you have. And see, when you read it in the morning and at night and you write it down, that sends messages to your brain and it kind of blows up inside your mind like a movie, and it's imprinted in your imagination and becomes more real. So this is why you have to do this. And you must recognize that as you're shifting your paradigm, a part of your subconscious mind will try to keep you there. So you must keep addressing this every single day and saying, I can do this. I don't have to stay where I currently am. That's going to be fear that's trying to prevent you and all the conditioning. But know this, that's why you have to study other people who have done the things that you desire to do and recognize if they have done it, then you can do it too. You see, all you have to do is follow the path to success. You can learn anything. So when you're listening to my story, I never let go of my vision. See, what happened, at some point I encountered something that dug it back up. And I said, I have to do this. I got to a point where I knew my why, that I didn't want to live another month or day without manifesting or releasing and exposing my destiny, what I knew that was inside of me, that no one could convince me otherwise. And then as I began to listen to motivational speeches, as I began to learn new words and read, that love and that passion was reunited because I never let it go. And then I started nurturing it. And then I realized that my gift was rusty, but it never went away. That's what you must understand about an inherent gift. It never goes away. So don't be scared. Dig this thing back up and recognize it will be rusty. You haven't been using it. But I can promise you this. Wherever you are right now, if you nurture it, when you look back in the future, you're going to see your progression. And then when you fully tap into this genius, you're going to figure out a way to succinctly use it. And also, don't imprison your mind. Think big. Notice this illustration. Let's say that you had 100 yards to run and you're at the 1 yard line. And let's say the 100 yards, once you get there, that's your goal. And let's say that you can see your goal and it's on an index card. Now, from 100 yards away, you probably can't see that very clearly. And let's say at this particular point, the goal simply says success. Now, as you're running, you're starting to get tired. You look up, you can barely see the goal and to remind you of what it is. Now, you're probably going to get tired. It's not very motivating. Now, imagine if you had a big portrait, 10 by 10 or 20 by 20, and then every time you look up, it's right there. So although you're tired, the vision is so big, the goal is so clear, the destination path is so clearly identified. Although you're tired, you feel like you've made it too far to quit because you can see it. So this is why it's important to make your vision big and to put it on your mind every day. So as you're running throughout life, when these adversities strike, when you start getting tired, when you experience setbacks, your vision is so big, no matter where you are, how tired you are, you can clearly see it. You must recognize this. Just like working out, if you're not in shape, when you first start working out, you're going to probably throw up and get tired very quickly. But if you keep doing it with the right format, you'll get in shape. Because even if you keep coming to the gym, if you don't have the right format, and if you don't eat properly, if you don't do all the other intangibles, you still won't get in shape. So you must do everything that's associated with bringing your dreams into fruition. So listen to my story. There's some secrets there. I'm not telling you exactly what the secrets are because it is a discovery process. You know what I've discovered? When gifts are inherent, you don't need to tell anyone what their gift is. They already know it's inside of you. And God put it in a place where he knew you would find it. So I don't need to tell you. I just need to give you the blueprint and you're going to discover it because you are a genius and I'm no better than you. If I can discover it, so can you. But you must believe in that. You must change your paradigm. You must take in full control of the steering wheel. You must get your gifts aligned with where you're going in life. So where are you going? You can do this. So watch these episodes again and again, episodes 4 through 7, as you discover the secrets of how to discover and use your true gift of value. So tune in for next week's episode. I'm gonna start a 3-part series that's entitled How to Deal and Cope with Setbacks. Have a great Friday. Thank you.